All right, so welcome back to Breaking Dawn this morning, people. And we got Mr. Ramkumar and Narinesingh with us. And for the next 15 minutes, we'll talk a little bit about industrial relations. And we'll see if we can slip in some business management there as well. So good morning, man. What's up? Nice to see you. Last week, we had two back-to-back birthdays there, the 18th and the 19th of June. And it's interesting that he's born on the 19th of June, which is Labor Day, and he entered industrial relations. And speaking of Labor Day, I guess we could start things off here. We had the Labor Day march that took place last week, Friday, and it had some controversy.
Yeah.
With Alyssa Phillip being arrested and so on and so forth, things like that. So first off, just to be clear, it is a march and not a protest.
Yes, that is a common mistake, a common perception that people have.
Right.
The Labor Day procession, normally the protocol is that the trade union fraternity would get together and apply for permission to have this march. Mm-hmm. And it is an open invitation to members of the public. There are persons from different civil society groups who participate. So nobody in particular has to get individual permission or otherwise to participate. And also, it is normal for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to come out in their numbers in order to coordinate the procession and control the crowd so that they don't deviate from the assigned route, etc., etc.
Right.
Right? So there's a lot of speculation as to why she was arrested, what was the reason behind the police getting involved and taking her away. Personally, I can't see the reason, but I'm certain, of course, maybe the police would have their specific reasons. And I don't think that it has anything to do with permission for being part of that.
Well,
march.
it seems to have something to do with placards.
Right.
Because there was a video there where she got angry.
Yeah.
Police was trying to talk to her very calm. And she said, I look like I have any placard, go and talk to who have placards.
Right.
So it was something like that. Well, based on that interaction.
That is also
I think that was one part of it.
Because in the march, every year, people generally do have their placards for the purposes of highlighting whatever woes or concerns or opinions that they have about the government issues at the national level or personal views about labor. So that is in itself would be very odd if the arrest was about that.
About that?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, now I do know that she was giving a video speech prior to the start of the march.
Oh, okay.
And I know that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has raised a number of issues regarding that, and as I understand, and the public, the information I have is just as much as what the public has. So it appears that the police has some legal grounds, in their opinion, or maybe from whatever laws that they are quoting.
Okay.
And that is probably where it went.
Okay.
But something to also be mindful of is that it is not abnormal for different entities who participate in the march, both trade union and general civil society, to have strong opinions about things. I mean, it's escalated all the way to being on the platform. I don't know if you remember, there were some years when the trade union fraternity had taken so much umbrage to Mrs. Prasad Bisesa that they used to go around with a mannequin of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
And that used to go up on the stage and people say all kind of thing. And, you know, so, and there has been instances where the police has intervened in speeches that are being given by trade union leaders and whatnot. So it's also not odd for the police to intervene based on what they might consider to be comments that are being insightful, etc., etc. So the truth is we really have to see where this goes. And of course, I'm certain that the young lady has a legal team that will guide her.
Well, I mean, we would hope so.
And justice will prevail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all in all, when you look at the Labor Day process, the Labor Day March, the Labour coming out and sharing their opinion, one of the things that stood out for me, Stefan, was the glaring disparity in the messages that were coming from the different union leaders.
Right.
It's very glaring. Now, it's not the first time, I would say, because in the past we've had labor leaders having their own segment of marches in different parts of the country. What, for me, I consider to be the first time is having those opinions being shared on the exact same stage.
Ah, boy.
So a sitting government, and by the way, a lot of participation from ministers.
Serious?
Sitting ministers, yeah. I mean, when you look at that, they're ministers. But of course, there are ministers who, former trade unionists, it is normal that they would, when Mr. McLeod was,
of course, yeah,
he would participate, and so that part. But then there were ministers there who have, generally never had a good relationship with the trade union fraternity.
Who were in the march?
And they were front and center. So,
all right, I didn't know that.
Very interesting, and not a bad thing, I would say. It's actually heartening to see that they understand, they are now presenting the aesthetics of understanding the relevance of that march and the need for, support and participation with the labor fraternity. It remains to see, Stefan, however, it's just the first year. It remains to see how it will progress. I remember how the People's Partnership played out.
Yeah, so, I remember that well.
It's just the first year, we have to wait and see.
And then everything was honky-dory until about a couple years in, and then everything just fell apart.
Unfortunately. So hopefully this momentum will continue, and hopefully it will align itself with the progression that is needed for the business community of Trinidad and Tobago. It cannot be a situation where the efforts to establish regulations and standards for the labor fraternity does not align with business sustainability in Trinidad and Tobago, because that would be defeating the purpose of securing employment security.
Okay.
As we know, employment comes from business efforts and business opportunities. And I have to say, though, it would be remiss of me to say otherwise. When you look at some of the things that are taking place, the changes in the legislation when it comes to process for getting approvals for housing and land, some of these things are very progressive from the government. And it aligns with the need for people to be able to build on personal asset value development, and by being able to easily and comfortably attain land ownership, property ownership, and approvals. Most importantly, a lot of people in this country have built homes that they cannot realize the value of because they have been stuck in the efforts to get approvals for their homes and their properties. And of course, a lot of these people did not have the means and the resources to secure that such approval. So it remains to see how well these things will align as we go along.
All right. Now, one of the things I want to touch on, of course, within the time that we have remaining, is late coming. We have about 7 minutes.
Yes.
Late coming. Well, maybe he was late on purpose today, because this was one of the things he was touching on. But there is this thing in the workplace where I have about 15 minutes grace.
Yeah.
So work's supposed to start at 8 and you arrive 8:10, 8:12, and you say you're early.
Correct. So is
there grace?
Grace is for God.
Okay, grace is for God,
pray
people.
for it and you
grace is for God.
There's this common misconception that if you're late for work and it's just a few minutes, the employer should accept that and allow you that quote-unquote grace period. And that has been in existence for a long time, because some employers actually practice that. But when it comes to rights and responsibilities, the truth is you do not have an entitlement of any kind to be late. And just to give you context, Stefan, and Trinidad and Tobago, the employer's business and the employment engagement is attributed to hours of work that is supposed to be delivered in order for the salary to become earned. And if you deliver short of those hours, then you are, in essence, quote unquote, robbing your employer of what they have paid you for, or what they are intending to pay you for, I should say, right? Because people who are generally frequently late, they have this thinking that, well, I'm late, I'm giving you a legitimate reason. You know, people say that, I have a legitimate reason of being late. And then the expectation is that they should be paid in full for the hours that they would have normally worked, regardless of the fact that they are late. The employer does have the right to adjust your salary if you have not delivered the full hours of work.
Okay.
People don't know that. They think that, well, you can't touch my pay because, right? And now the question is really, is late coming a violation that's strong enough to destroy or go to the root of the employment contract? And the truth is, late occurrences on their own in individual circumstances is not enough, right?
Okay.
So in other words, a person can't simply fire another person, an employee, for being late once, right?
Okay.
However, if the frequency of late coming escalates and collectively it amounts to a high frequency, consistency in being late, then the employer can take progressive action over time that can lead to a person's dismissal. So the problem that employers have most of the time is they do not put on record the efforts for addressing the late coming. So a person is late, and the employers, of course, their businesses are affected, so they're upset, etc., and they will probably vent it verbally, but they do not put on record their communication to the employer about their concerns about the person being late. And if you don't put it on the record, then it does not exist. And putting it on the record means that you do a letter of advice, a very simple letter. A letter of advice is not disciplinary. It's exactly that, advice and guidance and information that you are not comfortable with the person being frequently late, right?
Okay.
And then, of course, I know we're running out of time, so I'll be very quick with this last point. So, of course, over time, if the person is ignoring that advice and continues to be late, then that can escalate.
Well, oh gosh, I get fired, man.
Well,
No, because I mean, if you come in late and I telling you about it and you continuously come in late, then I have grounds, because that's what employers do, right? Employers supposed to or ought to build up a paper trail, right, of offenses on an employee before cutting it short.
Well,
it can't be based on one offense.
We're gonna continue this conversation right where we're leaving off here today, because there's an entire process and a protocol for identifying the records. Now, what you just said, I want you to hold on to that. Trinidad and Tobago, we're going to come back to that. Stefan said, building up a record. And a lot of people exploit that in a negative way for the purposes of leveraging that on employees.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not supposed to be in that context. So we're going to...
So if I... Hold on. You have what, 2 minutes? Right. So you're telling me if I'm the employer,
right,
and you have committed an offense of coming late today, right? Once,
right,
and I take a note of that. Sir, Ramkumar was late today, I had no problem. And then a week down the road, you're later again, and I take a note of that. Well, all right, you was later.
Right.
And then 3 weeks down the road, you're later again, and I take a note of that.
So stop right there. You see the fact that you've done it over 3 weeks, 3 times, and all you've done is taken notes, constitutes poor industrial relations.
Okay.
Here's why.
All right.
It happened the first time, you take a note of it. Hey, why are you late? What's going on? Please don't be late. It happened the second time, you're now supposed to say, hey, why are you late? Talk to me. Social dialogue has to step in, and that's what we're going to define next week. Social dialogue has to step in.
Between employer and employee.
My efforts as an employer has to be progressively inclined. I have to be interested in reformation, not just disciplinary action.
Okay. All right.
So we're going to go into that next
Understood. So you all look out for that next week. Ramkumar will have Well, we have more time next week. We'll have 30 minutes. Because we got Dr. Watson coming up after the break here. And Dr. Watson is going to be talking about pre-diabetes and what is pre-diabetes, right? We all know about diabetes, and then there's pre-diabetes. So we'll find out about that from Dr. Watson. Of course, the industrial relations and the business management aspect of what Mr. Narinesingh does. I put your did Sterling call you?
Yes, he did.
He did.
Thank
All
you
right,
for that.
nice.
Yeah.
Sterling, morning.
Good morning.
He watches the show. He tell me, he say, I had to get that number, you know, boy. I had to get that number, you know. I need. So, you know what I mean? If you have a business and your business is just at a standstill, you're struggling with it,
Struggling with
from one point to the
staff,
next.
struggling with sales development, process development, general business development, HSC protocols, whatever the issues are that you're having as it relates to your business. You have
solutions to that.
Absolutely.
All right, so make sure and check him out. And the number to call is what? I can't see it from here.
615.
I don't have on my glasses. I'm stubborn, you know. I just don't like to wear my glasses. All right, so it is 6 what?
615-8276.
Right.
Or you can WhatsApp 328-2437.
All right, nice man. So make sure, give him a call, check him out, and get started today. All right, in building your business up. All right, and you know, because nobody would like to have a business and see it fall. All right, and you know what I mean, there is scope. You know what I mean, there is money to be made. It's there. It's there to be made. Sometimes you just need to tweak things and fine tune it in a particular way. All right, so we got to take the break, and when we come back, Dr. Watson will be with us via Zoom. We'll chat with her pre-diabetes and what that is. Stay tuned.